Everybody wants more joy in their life, but so few people actually experience joy in their life, especially a lot of it consistently. One of the directives that scripture gives believers is found in 1 Thessalonians 5:6. It says, rejoice always. Now, this is a really short command, but it's a really difficult command to actually live out. But I've got 5 ways that we can increase joy in our life and live out this command that we're given in Scripture. The first of those is gratitude. When we practice gratitude, we are reminding ourselves of all that we have, of all that we have received. And when we're experiencing the wonderful blessings of someone caring for us, and we remember that we have this, and we're focused on the things that we have and the ways that we have been blessed, rather than focusing in on the things that we're lacking in our lives, then that's experiencing gratitude, and it empowers us to live a joyful life. But if all we do is remember what we have received, then there is still opportunity to grow in our ability and willingness to rejoice. This one might be a little bit more difficult to connect the dots with, but the second way that we can increase joy in our life is by setting appropriate boundaries. I look at so many of the times when I have lacked joy in my life. And a common denominator is it's a season or the result of a season where I didn't have healthy boundaries in my life. I was so focused on serving people and caring for people that I'd let people just walk all over me. And when we are in a position where people are walking over us, where they're disrespecting what's good for us, then we are going to become bitter. We're going to become frustrated. We're going to even become angry and vengeful if we aren't careful. And so one of the ways that we can protect our joy and actually be a blessing to those around us is by setting healthy boundaries and saying, no, I will not accept being treated this way. And if you're not willing to treat me and those in my care well, then you are not going to have access. Now, it doesn't always start with an ultimatum where if you don't start doing this or if you continue to do this, then we are severing all ties. But there is an aspect in which we protect our joy and we protect the people that God has given us the responsibility of caring for by setting healthy, good, and godly boundaries. One of the things that we see in the life of Jesus is the people that he got angry the most with were those who were in positions of power, specifically those who were in positions of religious power, those who tried to make everything about the weight of the moral code were to live by, those who would overstep and make demands of people that weren't found in scripture. Those over and over again, leaders are directed in scripture to care for those that they are in charge of, to be a blessing. Parents are told not to be harsh with their children. and many other examples. And so having boundaries and protecting ourselves and protecting others is a way that we can protect our joy and increase our joy so that we are rejoicing always. But what else can we do to increase joy in our lives? The third that we have today is prayer. One of the ways that we increase our joy is by being in community and in connection with God. We all have people in our lives that when we interact with them, they bring joy and they bring peace and they bring laughter. And when we're in a deep, profound relationship with God, where we're talking to Him, where we're listening to what He has to say to us, then that is going to protect our joy. That is going to equip and empower us to live in a powerful way that shows and expresses the joy that being in right relationship with God places in our lives. So, what else can we do? Another thing that we can do is we can forgive. Forgiveness is something that is incredibly powerful, and this runs kind of parallel to the boundaries that we talked about earlier. But when we forgive others, when we choose not to harbor that anger, that frustration, that hurt, and we release that and say, you know what, God's forgiven me of much worse, I'm going to forgive you. Now, that doesn't mean we erase the boundaries. We still need to protect ourselves, and we need to protect those that God has entrusted to our care. But letting go of the pain and the bitterness and choosing to heal in Jesus is going to equip and empower us to embrace joy in our lives, joy that would be blocked off if we were holding on to anger and resentment. Now, the next is number 5, but don't skip away as soon as this one's done, because we do have a bonus 6th way to increase joy in our life. Number 5 is remember the character of God. All sorts of things in our life go wrong, and the circumstances of our lives are constantly changing and shifting. And sometimes we feel like we're just falling out of an airplane or drowning in a sea. And we need something that is sturdy, that is solid, that we can hold on to. And I am convinced that God and His character, His grace, His mercy, His steadfast love is that rock that we can hold on to. And when we have that stability of God in our lives, then we can experience joy in the midst of all the chaos and turmoil that comes with living in a broken world. As I promised, there would also be a 6th way that we can increase joy in our lives, and that is rest. Rest and resting in God specifically, trusting Him to care for us when we aren't wrestling and rushing through life, empowers us to experience the joy of the moment. It empowers us to look and slow down and be at peace. So we've seen that ways we can increase our gratitude, our joy, is gratitude, healthy boundaries, prayer, forgiveness, remembering the character of God, and rest. Let me know in the comments section which of those has been most difficult for you to cultivate and prioritize in your life. Please share this with a friend that needs more joy in their life. God bless.